Aloha, 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 ahi ahi. Wakapo'a lua kiala. It is Wednesday. It is time to talk sports, talk traveling. We're getting itchy, some people will say, when it comes to trying to do the things that you've always wanted to do. And if you've been stuck indoors, I mean, just a year ago, think about it. I mean, a lot of us were like, am I ever going to a game again? Am I ever going to be able to get into a stadium again? Well, we'll see, because we got some great opportunities for you. But aloha, aloha to all of our friends around the world, and especially in Facebook world, where we have a chance to interact with you. And I want you to get active in the comments. Mahalo to all those who have joined us. Like I said, aloha to you, aloha ahi ahi to you. It's a really hot one. Bella no in Los Angeles. I'm in California at the moment, and it's been hotter. It's summer. It's officially summer, and of course for a lot of us who enjoy the summer beach life, especially if you're from Hawaii. If you're in California right now, you might actually get to go to the beaches, because it basically has to be 100 degrees in California for you to appreciate the wonders of the super cold Southern California waters, which Aaron Montoya knows about, because he's a SoCal boy himself, Southern California kid, so he knows. Well, he's a local boy, but he also spent some time up here. Well, how's it to our friend Aaron? He's in the comments right on Facebook. Hopefully you can join us. hisportsfans.com. You'll find all the links to our social media, plus hisportsfans.com. Just had a little bit of a revamp, so we're going to talk about some of the great offerings we have on the website right now, including the UH versus UCLA at the Rose Bowl. And that is just one facet, that game itself, of this amazing tour. But aloha to all of you. We're going to talk about this experience that you can have, and experience, that word I use all the time, because at the end of the day, this is what we are doing, creating experiences, right? We can't control so many things. We can't control the final score all the time, but we can control before and after the game, how the fun that we have and the things that we do. We might be a little sad after the game sometimes, but we can rest assured that we're going to have a great time, depending on whatever, I mean, no matter what the final score is. But Aaron Montoya, how's it to you? We have a lot of our hardcore Hawaii football fans really excited for this upcoming football season, because we're finally going to have fans in the stands, and UCLA will also be a very special game, because it'll be the first regular season game with fans for Hawaii football. If you were there at the New Mexico Bowl, there was several hundred of us in Dallas, Texas. I also have to say that because New Mexico Bowl was in Dallas, but Hawaii football played in Dallas, Texas, and New Mexico Bowl. I covered that game. Still haven't put out the vlog that I was supposed to make a long time ago, but I'm getting around to that. But this UCLA game will be finally a chance for a regular season game, and it's not just any regular season opponent or any regular season venue. It is the Rose Bowl. It is one of the finest stadiums, buildings. Very, very, LA-esque architecture. That's so legendary in many ways, because of the games that it's hosted, because of the events that have been hosted there. Of course, the Rose Bowl game, the most famous of them all. Some of you may have played in it. Who knows? Maybe you've been on one of those teams, or some of you may have marched in the Rose Bowl parade, which I know a lot of kids from Hawaii have done, and a lot of my friends, and that's pretty cool. But more than that, it is the site that also hosts UCLA, all the Bruins games. So every UCLA Bruin game, that's a pretty cool thing, right? If you're getting recruited to UCLA, it's like you get to play every game here in Pasadena in the Rose Bowl. That's pretty cool, all your home games. It doesn't sell out every game. I don't know how many games they sell out. They probably sell out maybe the UCLA USC game, maybe sometimes. But I mean, there's like 10,000 seats. I don't know, but it's choke. And I don't anticipate them selling out too many games. But in any case, this game against Hawaii is going to be a great game for us to be there. And yeah, you'll probably be able to get a ticket if you go on your own. But why just worry about the hassle of finding your own ticket, finding parking, finding a tailgate? Just come with me. I already have the best one. I mean, I take out all of the stress because going to a game should never be stressful, first of all. But of course, it does get that way. I remember my dad's first Packer game. So I'm gonna use this as an example, but sorry, my dad can get grumpy sometimes too. He watches this show, so he knows it. But I remember our very first game. We were in Phoenix, Arizona. It was so hot, and he's a Packers fan, and he finally got to see a Packers game. He's one of those Packers fans, the few Packers fans that probably don't tell a lot of people, but they're super diehard, and he doesn't wear a ton of Packers gear unless we buy it for him. He's not one of those guys always buying Packers gear. And I took him there to Lambeau for his first time ever in Green Bay. But his first ever game watching the Packers, even though he's been a fan since he was a small kid in the 50s and 60s, was at Arizona. And it was against the Cardinals. It was in Tempe before they played in Glendale, before they played in that beautiful air, temperature-controlled building. And I remember him complaining, which was hilarious because, of course, I would complain too, but of all the walking he had to do to the stadium, of how hot it was. And it's like, bro, we're going to go to a game. We're going to see your team play. And that should be enough for some people to be excited. But there's a lot of pilikia, I would say, around the stadium. Not necessarily like negative things, but chaos sometimes around a stadium, right? There's people tailgating. There's people looking for parking. There's people that have no clue where to park, and they're just there circling. There's people that don't have tickets. They just want to circle around the stadium. Every stadium is different. Every venue is different. But when you're with a group like ours, you don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to worry about finding parking. You just get up when you feel like it. I always leave our shuttles at a very good time from the hotel. You don't have to worry. You don't have to be that guy complaining about everything. I hope not, because I try and keep my tours as complaint free as possible, and they usually are, because and they always are because I meticulously craft all of the facets of the experience that I want people to have. So today I'm talking about this UCLA tour right now, before we have Reggie Mauia join us again, the juggernaut, of course. He had such great stories last week. I posted it on our social media. That clip of him talking about the shooting star that flew above him across the Milky Way, which covers Samoa, and talking about he was going to play in the NFL one day and wishing upon that star, and thinking how cool of an experience that is as a little boy, and to see it come to fruition, to play in the NFL when you grow up on Samoa, an island which now, of course, people are like, well, of course, Samoa, a bunch of Samoans playing the NFL, like they have the highest per capita, I guess, or whatever island or people now, but back then there wasn't even football on the island. So he said it was on TV, but to believe in yourself that much before even learning the game, projecting yourself into the future as being a professional, that's really cool. And he's a great inspiration to a lot of us, and he's somebody that has been on this program a few times now and always has a lot to say. So I hope you can stay tuned for that. I'm sure he's feeding his kids. He's a family man. He's a good guy, all the way around. Just love Reagan and the juggernaut and all that he's been able to share with us on the show. And I know today he'll have definitely a few more tidbits. But this UCLA tour, I'm super excited. The website has been newly revamped. It's still being things added, but you can find all our photos from the 20 past tours. I'm going to be honest. Every time I go to my website, I'm always like, holy cow, I went to all of these places. Like as a kid, I really just wanted to do all of these travel and go to all these places. And my parents always said, no. And for good reason most of the time. But they finally said yes when I was a senior in high school. And that's when we went to see Hawaii football play at UTEP at El Paso, Texas. Timmy Chang's first game, which is just across the border, across the New Mexican border, not the Mexican, but the New Mexican border, Las Cruces, where Hawaii football will be playing this year against New Mexico State. Maybe we'll make a tour there. I'll put one on there. Maybe you can come with me there. But that's something that was a desire that's been born out of just a passion for things that I want to do and things that were instilled in me as a kid. But my parents were not the traveling type. They were not. They are the traveling type. We did travel considerably more than probably some other people. We benefited a lot from benefits. People are work in the industry, they know about that. But I also have 4 siblings, so that's why we needed those benefits. But that is all those experiences are instilled in all of my trips now. And now I've done over 20 tours, over 20, and all over the world. Went to Australia, New Zealand, to every corner of America, the Midwest, the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest, the Northeast, Florida many times, Vegas, Texas. And every experience has been amazing. I want to keep those experiences going with you, and excited. Candy, Aloha Candy, one of our favorites here. She says, sounds like people are going to have a great time with Hawaii sports fans in LA in August. Go book them with Wayne. Go. So that's, what can I say? A nice thing. Somebody who has been there before with us, and this UCLA tour is going to be really exciting, because not only are you going to be able to catch the Hawaii game, like I said, get a tailgate, and we're going to even go to my favorite place to eat in LA, probably, well, one of my favorite places, because I love Little Saigon, but Koreatown, that part of LA is my favorite eating area. I just love Koreatown. And it's hard to find parking there, but guess what? I'm gonna take you there, and you don't have to even worry about that. I'm gonna take you to my favorite part of town. We're gonna eat the best. We're gonna eat some good Korean food. This is after we've already had a day of the football game, and we had a tailgate. So that's all part of it, and that's a part of that experience. Like, it's not just about you flying your own. You can do that. I go to so many games of my own all the time, and so I'm not going to tell people not to go on their own. That's what people do, is they travel to games, and especially if they're adventurers like myself, or you feel like discoverers, you're going to go out there and you're going to just travel on your own. But you may not be able to do a lot of the cool things that I'm going to talk about, because you need a group to do them sometimes. Or if you're rich, you don't have to worry about anything. You can buy any seat you want. But this company is not only for rich people, because rich people are always welcome. I've never been a rich person, but I've always, and definitely since I've run Hawaii Sports Fans and founded it, I've lived richly through my experiences, and that's what I want to explain to people. It's not about having a lot of money, but sometimes it's about splurging more than usual. Sometimes it's about saying, okay, I'm gonna tap into this account that I've been saving for rainy days, but maybe that rainy day means something that is life-changing. Because that seems like crazy for me to use words like that, but honestly, like, my tours are amazing. Like, I go through this list. If you go to the link that says Our Story, you'll find out where a lot of my inspiration, my grandmother, and my story about her, and a little bit about my background in sports and all the different facets, from being a student athlete in college to working as an administrator in college to hosting a television show. A lot of you might have seen OC16, Pac West Magazine. The only reason I say a lot of you have seen it, because I used to stick it between the Friday night football games, so that people were basically forced to watch it. Like, oh, the game hasn't started yet. Oh, it's still this show. But, it's still, they were forced to watch my show, so that was kind of cool. And, like, all of those experiences, like I said, those are all a part of, and my personal pedigree are all infused in these tours. And, yeah, I don't know, and I would put myself up with anybody that goes to games, that travels across the world. And I've met so many people, and I've been impressed by so many other people, and I'm not above or below these people. I'm just saying, like, I think my experiences have set myself apart. I've been to 6 Super Bowls, 2 NBA Finals, saw the trophy given out twice. I went to the World Series, saw that trophy given out. These are the biggest trophies in American sports. I've seen them handed out multiple times. I've seen the Kentucky Derby, that handed to a horse. Okay, they didn't actually hand the trophy to the horse. They handed it to the trainer. And it might have been the guy who actually just got recently suspended from, or kicked out of whatever, Churchill Downs. But that was a ridiculously cool experience. And, there's a part of me that's not about that debutante, like, Southern, like, there's parts of the Kentucky Derby that are problematic. They are, but it's super fun to indulge in that, right? Like, the women are wearing big hats, and I was wearing a seersucker that my roommate from college, who was doing his PhD at Indiana University, where I drove from Bloomington, Indiana. See, I go to all these kind of crazy places, right? A local kid from Mililani, and I just go Bloomington. I've been to all kinds of places. I've driven all over America, and I've always found cool places. Whatever state I'm in, I always find a cool place, literally. Like, no doubt, where I'm like, this place is so cool. I'm glad I know this place exists now. Makes me change the way I look at the state. It's like, people underrate certain places. Like, Hawaii's amazing, it's the best, but like places like Idaho, for instance, like, there's some ridiculous beauty in Idaho, like, ridiculous. Like, wow, like you're just like your jaw drops. But we don't talk about it that often, but it's also because they're smart to not let everybody know. So not everybody's going over there and crowding all their beautiful natural places and hot springs and all other crazy beautiful places that they do. But in Hawaii, we're just like, "Eko mai, everybody come." But being a traveler is a part of life, and that's what we're doing here. So I'm not saying don't travel, but I'm saying do it the right way. And I think in Hawaii, sports fans, we do it the right way. We always leave places better than we left them. Just like when I was an Eagle Scout and a Boy Scout, we always left campsites better. But we always leave a place, maybe not physically, we're not picking up rubbish maybe all the time every time we go somewhere, but maybe we're leaving that place with a better appreciation for it, or a knowledge of the local people that are from a place, or the people that are working to make a place or keep its charm the way it is. So travelers like us, when we go there and we're just there for a quick spot, we can appreciate that little bit of their part of the world. And for some reason I'm getting a flashback now to New York, and we were in the mountains, like the Adirondacks, and we were driving down from Cooperstown, New York. We went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and we drove down to the Bronx. We'd already driven from Fenway Park. We were in Boston. We saw UH play in Amherst, Massachusetts. I went to college in New York in the Hudson Valley, so I know that area a little bit, and it was pretty cool to experience it as like an adult, whatever, if I'm ever an adult yet. But like I got to see that with fresh eyes, being away from it for so long, and just so stunning, that part of New York too, especially that time of the year. But we stopped at this really cool town that had bass and was popular for its like trout. Not Mike Trout, the greatest baseball player ever, but trout, like actual fish that has famous for its trout. And we went to a brewery there, a microbrewery, and we just got to experience that lifestyle and just see what those people, like their little neck of the woods for a little while. And it was legitimately a neck in the woods, but that's their life, and those people live it 100% of the day and 24/7. So it was cool to be there, and we leave it a better. We eat local. We're not going to places. And I encourage you in your life to be really conscious of where you spend your money in general, but particularly where you eat, like particularly where you spend your money. And I think a company like mine, this is a local company that pays taxes to Hawaii, to the government, that helps our government run, like Hawaii Sports Fans LLC. That's why it is, so that I'm helping to stimulate our local economy by keeping money that you spend in Hawaii in Hawaii Sports Fans. But I also want to carry that same philosophy when I go to restaurants, when I go to other parts of the country, where it's like I want to support local business owners who help to keep this place charming and fun for travelers like me. People from Hawaii need to learn that. I mean, just point blank, if you come to Hawaii, like, you really need to learn that. We've been dealing with tourists our whole lives, and it's really not fair to local people to always have to deal with tourists. And I'm saying this as someone that travels a lot. I'm saying as somebody who's been to places like Portugal and Porto and Lisbon, different cities that are the north and the south, and both very vocal parts that their lives have been forever changed. I don't want to say ruined, possibly ruined by heavy tourism. So I don't consider that paradoxical at all, that I run a travel company and that I am leery about over tourism, because tourism is a byproduct of industrial evolution and all the things that we enjoy today. But it also can be done the right way. It can be done in a way that's pono, we say in Hawaii, pono, and a way that is in harmony with the environment, with the people. Clippers just hit a shot. I'm watching the Clippers-Utah game. No Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers. Clippers just took a lead in third quarter. But anyways, this is a part of the travel experience, and I'm bringing that here to even this LA. I want to be able to show you LA, the true LA. This is LA, Holmes. And I think the Dodgers are one of those places, Chavez Ravine. And I don't just want to take you to Dodger Stadium, to one of the great stadiums in America, one that has so much history. I mean, just close your eyes, everybody's seen the Kirk Gibson home run. Even if you don't watch baseball, you've probably seen that Kirk Gibson home run in the World Series. And I think about moments like that when I'm at Dodger Stadium. But I also been to so many stadiums so many times that I realize that every place that I sit offers me a different experience. I go to 20 baseball games a year, Major League Baseball games a year, maybe on a normal year, and it's mostly Angel Stadium or Dodgers, and I get to see a lot of or try different parts too. Dodgers has like some real high in heaven seats. So if you want to go to Dodger Stadium, you can experience those. Those are way up in sky high heaven, but those sometimes can be like $50, $100. I'm not even kidding, and you're way up there. And then that's just the value and the demand of those tickets. But these tickets are definitely not in high heaven. The ones that we're sitting in, they're literally opposite. They're literally almost on the field, the closest you can get to the field, because they're on the fence line. And these new home run seats. If you're watching right now, I have a photo up there. It looks like Mookie Betts going to grab a ball. That's right field. We're sitting in left field, left center, where there's, in my opinion, more home runs hit in Dodger Stadium. And you probably saw one of a kid that got hit his nacho. He tried to catch it and it hit his nachos instead, and it splattered nacho. And Justin Turner, from the Dodgers, JT, he bought him more nachos. But all those that included that nacho, that's all included. All that food in this section, popcorns, peanuts, Dodger dog, soda. So you're gonna be sitting there with us if you're on this tour. BP, you get to get a bunch of balls. I mean, this is a legit chance to catch home run balls, and that's gonna be fun. So that's an premium experience, right? If you're sitting way in sky high heaven in Dodger Stadium, hey, you can still have fun. You can still cheer for the blue and go Dodgers go, and I love LA at the end when they win. You can sing along and feel like you're there, and you are there. You're in Dodger Stadium. How your experience is way different than the people though sitting behind home plate, or the people sitting in the right grandstand or in the left grandstands. Every place is different, and that's the exciting part. When you go to a lot of games like me, I get to experience that, but it's hard for me to even experience on my own these very premium areas, But in Hawaii Sports Fans, we take all the risk off of you. We just say, here's one flat price. You don't have to worry about getting a whole suite or a whole home run seat section. We'll do it for you. All you got to do is be in our group, and that's what we've done. Just like a suite. If you see another photo, we're going to get a suite at Angels versus Yankees, and this is going to be really cool. It's going to be above the third base dugout, which is where the Angels are. You get to see Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, and play against Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and a Yankee team that is star-studded, no matter what their record is. I mean, they're a star-studded team, and they're going to bring in a lot of their fans as well. So it's always a fun time when Yankee fans, are there at every game. Whether they've been to New York ever in their lives, there's a lot of Yankee fans. I mean, I'm sure just like Lakers or anything like around the country, there's going to be people that are fans of that team. And so that's the national appeal of the team like the Yankees. And it makes it more fun because the Angels are already, they're fighting the Dodgers for fans even. So sometimes the other stadiums, it's fun to see just the banter. And it's definitely more fun because I'm an Angels fan to see when the Angels win. But we have some Yankee fans that come with us a lot. We got to go to Yankee Stadium just 3 years ago. We were there and doing a premium area, an experiential area where we had free craft beer and sliders and all kinds of food in the batter's eye, so center field, and then in the game we walked down to our seats in left field and home run alley there as well at Yankee Stadium. So that's the experience. You're going to go on your own. Let me just tell you, especially at baseball fields, there's getting in, so sometimes you might just want to pay to get in and then sit in your seats in the nosebleed, or you might be paying for those nosebleed seats and you might walk around and or find an open seat. People do that all the time, right? I'm sure I've done it more than a few times. I still do it. But that's because it's my knowledge of certain stadiums. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to splurge sometimes. And I'm going to splurge on my own. I'm going to go to fun stuff. And the fun stuff that I like to do, I put into this tour. Like, this is the kind of tour, everything that I put out at Hawaii Sports Fans, everything we put out, for me as Wayne Coito, the ultimate sports fans, the ultimate sports traveler, I love everything that I put out. I personally love it. Like, I'm like, gosh, this is so good. Good job, Wayne. You made this. Like, you look at my old stuff, and I'm like, oh, I did that in 3 days. We went to Ohio State, and then we went to watch Cowboys in Dallas, and then we flew to the Bay Area and watched the Niners play in Levi on Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football of the year. The first Sunday Night Football in Dallas, I did that. I led that group. Yeah, I did. And it's pretty cool. And not that many people got to do it, right? These are small groups. So that's the thing. Like, I try and keep these things exclusive. I keep them fun, though. I keep them at a place where at an intensity level that is not crazy, but I knowing the demands of what it takes to attend a game or a football game. Sometimes you gotta walk a little bit, but I make that walk as short as possible for you. I mean, how many times have I flagged down golf carts to take people in my group? A lot. Like, I'm always there to take care of you, and I shout out Daniel. This is something he told me. He saw me, Daniel Ng. This is one of our Hawaii football fans too, in Washington, seeing me help. I think it was his mom or somebody, because we were in some very steep area too, part of Washington Stadium, and I didn't know. I didn't know her. I just saw she was walking down, and of course I'm gonna help, especially elderly kupuna. But I do that for all my group. He talked about that in my group too, and how he saw me take my group to the elevator. The ones that need to use the elevator. I'm always going to be watching out for the vulnerable people too. I mean, I'm escorting it myself. So, I'm there answering questions. I'm there on the front lines, and that's always a good thing to have. Everybody knows that, right? Having a guide, having somebody escort is always a nice service. Do you need to get one all the time? No. Can you pay to go on your own and do your own thing and maybe save money? Of course. But I'm here to provide a service that's valuable, and also that is priced at a place that is not, you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be a super rich person. I'm not. And I'm bankrolling all these things. So, or I'm bankrolling them beforehand. Hopefully, sometimes I don't get all the money back. I'll be honest, but it's something that I like to do. Actually, most of the time I don't get all the money back. That's just the honesty, because the stuff that I do is just nobody would do it. No other even travel companies who maybe are adjacent to this type of company where they do tours that involve going to games. That's different from this company, which is about sports travel, right? So there are companies that will take people to Alaska and then Vegas and Niagara Falls and stuff. And sometimes they still do that with the UH football. But that's their plan. And that's their business model, really. Here, it's more about what I want to do. And what I want to do is go to games. And Hawaii Sports Fans, we're about that fan experience. So the goal of Hawaii Sports Fans is wherever there's a game, say we're going to watch Hawaii football play, then what NFL game can we go to? What NBA game can we go to? What Major League Baseball game can we go to? That's what I'm talking about, because those are the things that I want to do, especially if I live on an island and I don't really get to get off that much. And like I said, a lot of this was born out of my desire to want to go to games because of growing up on an island, because I had only, and which I'm so appreciative for the Pro Bowl, having it growing up. I had so many amazing experiences as a little kid. That all inspired what I'm doing. As a little kid running around the Aloha Stadium trying to get autographs, trying to get Randy Moss's autograph, trying to get Steve Young and Jerry Rice and all these guys running around me. And then I was like, one day I want to go watch them in the real game, because the Pro Bowl is obviously not a real game. But I finally made that happen for myself. Like I said, that first game with my dad. And that was, in Tempe, Arizona, watching the Cardinals and the Packers. And the Packers won. And it was cool to see my dad also be able to fellowship with other Packers fans and create a camaraderie in the stands. That's all a part of the experience. Sometimes it's hard to do that if you're in the nosebleeds, because some of those people up there can be violent, just to say that. That's why I never sit in nosebleeds. And that's why some tour companies, when they try and take people to NFL games or pro games, they always get junk seats, because they don't want to have to put up the money ahead of time for the good kind places. Even at the Mariners game, and I will say a local company that takes a lot of people, they always take a bunch of people, you know who I'm talking about. They were at the Mariners game that we had a suite at Hawaii Sports Fans. They were also in a premium area, which I give them props for, but they weren't in a suite. It wasn't as good as our area. But I'm only saying because we could fit in where we were. They couldn't fit into a suite. Really, they would have to buy multiple suites. But that's cool. They're stepping up. They're seeing that you can give our fans a better experience. Because I've also seen the same company take people to NFL games and put them in Sky Heaven. And that's why you should come with me, because I'll only give you the better seats. I mean, if you're going to worry about the price, you have to really normalize things about how much things cost, especially NFL. And I'm not saying this you gotta, things cost money. I'm not doing this in a complaining way, but a lot of people, if they get sticker shock, it's because they don't know how much stuff costs. And stuff in the NFL, you really have to normalize spending hundreds, multiple hundreds, normalize that. Really, I don't. It'll never go down. You're never gonna, some NFL games. Yeah, if you're going to, Jacksonville to watch the Jaguars play against the Panthers or whatever, I'm sure they have $10 seats a lot. I'm sure, and I'm not saying because they have bad fans. It's just because of certain places. Demand is different, obviously, and certain stadiums are way bigger than even their fan base. That's not the case everywhere. And the NFL, even the teams are raising the prices on their season ticket holders, because they're like, we don't want the season ticket holders making money off of our tickets, so they're charging season ticket holders more, and like the season ticket holders who can't make games are hoping just to get their money back. So, it is one of those things where you have to be honest with how much stuff costs. I mean, the Super Bowl tour, I don't talk about the price of it too much, but it's in the thousands, multiple thousands. Like, some of you might be driving a car that is valued at less than what the cost of my tour is to the NFL Super Bowl. That's just the reality of the situation. Does it stop me, someone who is not rich, which I've said again, I'm not a rich person, I'm quite the opposite actually, but I put my money in things that I know you'll enjoy. I know you'll have so much fun if you follow my lead in these places that we're going and these experiences that I want to share with you. Because that's what's really important at the end of the day. The money is, you're always going to go through money. Like, money is a different thing. It's for people personally to experience with money, whether they want to stress about it all the time. Some people never stress about money. Some people, it's always people who experience it. It's never whether they have it or not. It's just how they experience that their relationship with money. Some people will drop a lot. The stuff that I'm selling, the stuff I have on my website, costs a significant amount of money, but it's good stuff at a good value. So I'm behind it. What if I was just a normal person making about how much money I have, and I looked at it, I'd be like, oh wow, okay. But someone who is savvy with how NFL games are and how they work, I mean, I think it's a bargain if you look at the things that I provide or we provide at Hawaii Sports Fans, experiences, and that's the main key. Candy says, yes, it's normal to pay $300 for a good seat at an NFL game now. Yeah. And the $300 is like getting in at some stadiums now. Getting in, the get in. You imagine that? Well, the get in at the Super Bowl, I'm just going to put this out there again. The get in at the Super Bowl was about $6,000 last couple of years. $6,000. And I still will get people in and provide all the good stuff on the side. And I'll bankroll that. And I'll guarantee your ticket. That's what we do at Hawaii Sports, especially for the Super Bowl, which I cannot stress more, where you get your ticket, and we're willing to guarantee it. And I've had so many people have amazing experiences that they would never have done on their own. Never. And that's the thing too. I obviously am looking for people too who wouldn't do things on their own, because I want to blow their minds away with the things that it's possible if they just, take that risk of getting on that plane or going to that game they've always wanted to go to. But let me help you, and it's all stress-free. You just literally pay one price and everything is taken care of. But it's about that experience at the end of the day, and I want people to have that experience with me. Candy was there experiencing the NFC Championship game last year. Well, not this past year, but the year before. We were there for Niners versus the Packers. Speaking of the Packers again, Niners got crushed by the Packers. So I know Candy doesn't want, or Packers got crushed by the Niners that game. So I know Candy, that's a good memory for Candy. But it was a good memory for me as well as a Chiefs fan, because I was happy the Chiefs were going to be in the Super Bowl. I'm playing the Packers. I'm playing the Niners. Sorry, Packer fans. I know I keep thinking you don't choke at the end, but it always happens. Kidding, JK. So love my dad and my sister are huge Packers fans. But it is interesting. I've seen them not get over the hump several times. I saw them play Seattle, that crazy game where they were winning the whole game. They lost to Seattle. And that was right before Seattle went to Super Bowl 49 in Glendale, a game I was also at, and threw an interception on the goal line to lose that game. So anything can happen. Candy says, woohoo, yeah, that was fun times, but we lost the Super Bowl. She did lose the Super Bowl, and that was the greatest Super Bowl of my life because I'm a Chiefs fan. But we all have moments, right? Everybody has their moments. Niners have had their moments. Who knows will have their moment next? And those moments are fleeting. Only one team can win the Super Bowl every year. There are 32 teams. Only one team can win the Super Bowl. Are there 31 failures? No. In my opinion, no. If we thought that, it would be hard to be a Hawaii football fan. If I thought it was always a failure never to win the championship, I'd be like, okay, we fail. But we don't fail. It's a journey. It's progress. It's fandom. It's being in the stands. It's experiencing those games, watching your team from the stands, and watching Hawaii play at UCLA. It'll be an interesting game, I think. Coach Graham will finally get a chance to play a Pac-12 team. He came from the Pac-12. That was his last stop, Arizona State. So he's coached at this level at a few stops, or at least at Arizona State. So it'll be his first major test. Houston was almost. It's kind of Houston is whom we beat in the New Mexico Bowl. I was gonna say Super then Sugar, but New Mexico Bowl, which was played in Dallas, Texas. They were kind of Division One and Power 5 adjacent. The AAC. I think they're above the Mountain West, but they're still like mid-major. But we crushed Houston. We did provide multiple touchdowns, so that's a good sign. So I think it'll be a good game. But we're there to watch the game, yes. But we're there to experience the fun of being with our friends and families in the tailgating afterwards. And that's all a part of the experience. That's all a part of the experience. And a lot of the reasons why I'm so fixated on having great experiences is because as a fan, you can't control the game. You can't control the outcome. I mean, you can try. You can be as loud as you can on defense, or you can get rowdy for your team and cause offsides or whatever. And I believe the fans do have the power to do that. Even at Aloha Stadium, we've done that how many times? Even with like 20,000 people at Aloha Stadium. I mean, we've rocked that place. That's one thing I'm very proud of Hawaii football when we can. Sometimes they do that on, people need to know, only on defense should we be that loud. But it is amazing. It's amazing how to sit in that atmosphere and be energized by it. And whether your team wins or loses, whether our team, Hawaii football, I mean, I'll be honest, it's hard. It was hard. We had a tour. We've had a lot of tours. Hawaii football has not only lost, but they've gotten creamed. And that happens because a lot of our tours at Hawaii sports fans are going to these places that we don't go to often, right? It's like, I knew that we weren't hardly going to play at Amherst, Massachusetts, so I better get to that game. We played UMass and we beat them, which was nice. But it helped me to get to the Cooperstown. We went to Fenway, we went to Yankee Stadium. We stayed in the Bronx. We walked through the Bronx. I mean, that was a crazy experience. That was a great experience. But it all started with Hawaii football playing up there. So I'm always down for Hawaii going to all these cool places. I mean, Hawaii's going to be at Vanderbilt soon, so get to go to Nashville. Like, excuse me. I'm over here gagging on myself. Just in excitement of going to these places. But Nashville is going to be really cool. And, I think of all these places that if Hawaii football pulls me there, I'll find a way to, energize or supercharge that experience, right? Just like at D&B's where you supercharge your card or you add more money. Like, I'm adding value. And I'll be honest, if you look at tour comparison prices, yes, just my tour, Hawaii Sports Center, is going to be a little bit more pricey than the ones other places that you look for if you're looking for a tour. And that's because it's not the same. It is not the same. Not only do I back all the prices, I back the value of them. And quite frankly, we could charge more. We should. Honestly, I think there's a lot to say about the psychology behind selling things and being a local company and mom and pop type. I mean, I'm not a mom or a pop, but I run under that same philosophy where I just want to make the best experience for my clients and for my customers, because I understand how much things cost and how scarce money can be, and how we as human beings are always under economic constraints. So we have to be very careful and deliberate of where we spend our money. And I think, for me, I want people to be like, oh, this is something I want to do for a long time. Even though I'm not like balling, I don't have so much money. Hey, this is a good chance for me to do something I've always wanted to do. And Wayne is going to provide me an experience that I know is going to be a positive one. And I back that. It's like 20 plus tours. We've never had one that was less than amazing. And it's crazy because it's like, I'm someone can be very self-deprecating, so I'm being very honest. Like, the tours have been so fun, and I've created all of them, which was cool. But it's because I know exactly what I want to do, and I want you guys to experience that as well. But thank you so much for being out there tonight. I'm always curious. I know some people are starting to get their tickets for Hawaii football. If you have your season tickets for Hawaii football, or if you've been getting a call, or if you're hearing things, let me know. I know I've heard a story about somebody getting called where they thought they were going to be able to buy their tickets, but actually they were getting called to be told to donate more. So this is a secondhand thing, but that is a very problematic thing if that's happening, because we need fans are there, fans, and that's the whole point of, like I talked about. It's not about being rich. Things cost money. That's just the way capitalism works. I don't know. We all have agreed to this. Even though, let's be honest, nothing is real. It's all fake. Like the money, all that thing is just fake. We're put value on that. I want you to put value on the tour. I want you to put value on that memory, because that's where that money is for. That's the irony, right? Like the people are into Bitcoin are watching the value, but that was the whole point, was to shift your value to another currency or another form. So when people are like, I'm going to pull out or sell, it was like, the whole point was to store value in a cryptocurrency because it's supposed to be safer, because you can make transactions. I mean, that's just an irony. People have to look at that, like the paradox of like hoping that something goes up in value, but that value is in something that you, by your own philosophy, don't believe in now, storing value in the dollar. Anyways, I'm not trying to go on a tangent about Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, but it all comes down to value. People are literally selling highlights for thousands, highlights, digital highlights that you cannot hold, that other people can watch. So not only can you watch them, but other people can watch them. Yet certain websites are selling those NFTs, non-fungible tokens. My experiences are NFTs. My experiences cannot be, that I'm delivering to you, cannot be matched, cannot be, maybe they can be better with someone else, or someone can do it better. But I can tell you, I won't do it worse than you could. I tell you that much. I think traveling can be stressful, period, right? Anytime you travel, you're super excited to go somewhere, right? But it's stressful. That's just how it is, getting on planes, and but you're excited, but you're stressed out. And I want you to just be excited, because Hawaii sports fans is that way. You get on the plane, you get to the airport, I'm there. We're getting, in this game in LA, you're going from the airport, we're going straight to dinner, or actually not to dinner. You're gonna have time to chill out in your room, freshen up if you want, take a nap. We're gonna have dinner right there at the hotel. We're gonna have a special guest. I was hoping it would be Colt. Rest in peace, our friend Colt. I know he was in LA, but still announcing who it'll be. But food, alcohol right there in the hotel. You can go right back to your room and go to sleep. And I think that's a great way to start a tour anytime, is being satisfied, your stomach, and of course feeling a little bit good, getting some drinks flowing, and being safe, and being able to go straight to your room and go to sleep. And even as we do have, I'm always thinking about resting and getting charged as well, because we're doing a lot and we're going quick. As on Friday, we're gonna have lunch together somewhere, then we're gonna go to that Dodgers game. And Saturday we're gonna be all day. That's gonna be all day one in Pasadena, because the game is early. And then afterwards we're gonna get food. We're gonna go early for the tailgate, be there in the game for another 3.5 hours, and then go get food afterwards. So, in Koreatown, it's gonna be super fun, but things are tiring. Things. Just like anytime you're having fun, you see people at Disneyland, and you're like, everybody's so excited to go to Disneyland, right? Nobody can sleep. Like parents can't sleep, the kids, and they get to Disneyland, they have an amazing day, and then as the day slowly turns from amazing to people get cranky, people are upset, and that just happens, right? Like you can't keep that buzz going. But it's funny, because on my tours we always keep the buzz going. We always keep that high, because we keep balance. It's hard to spend all day out there, but and it's hard to not to try and do something without a full night's rest. So I always make sure that we can build that in, and we can still maximize our time without getting super tired, or without jeopardizing the fun that we can have, because we are so tired. Wow, Clippers are taking now a 10-point lead over Utah. This is insane, because Utah is playing amazing, probably one of the best teams in the NBA right now. Clippers without Kawhi Leonard. But I did go to NBA Finals 2 years ago and 3 years ago, and that's something I would love to take a group to as well. But like everything else, I'm not saying but my caveat is always, I would love people to see how much things cost, first of all, because they're not cheap, most of it on your own. Like if you're going to go, because people compare like, oh, I could do this on my own. Go for it. Like I tell people, go for it. My Rams tickets, if you go up to the Rams packages at SoFi, you're going to have an amazing time. For Hawaii sports fans, we got 4 seats right on the visitors tunnel at SoFi for your team playing the Rams. So if your team is playing the Rams, the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Bears. The first ever regular season game with fans will be the Bears. First ever seeing game period will be a preseason game with fans, Chargers versus Rams. But of all these experiences, just alone, the amenities, not even having to do with the game, just the amenities alone are amazing. You're parking right next to the stadium, walking through a VIP entrance, access to the exclusive executive club, which wraps 360 degrees around the stadium. There's a whiskey bar, there's a tequila bar, there's a vodka bar, separate, just so you can have a separate kind of alcohol. I mean, this is the high life right there. And maybe you're not always like this. Maybe you're not that kind. Or as Robert, who has been on probably 6 Hawaii Sports Fans tour, he always says hi muck muck. I think he's trying to say hi mucka mucka, but he says hi muck muck. He's we love you, Robert. But he always says it. But we do some hi muck muck things, because even, you know, us blue collar types, we're just doing the fun stuff because we need to splurge sometimes too. We want to have fun. We want to have experience that we'll never forget, and that's what we're doing in Hawaii Sports Fans. That experience is guarantee you won't forget it. I mean, I talk about Super Bowl. All the Super Bowls obviously are amazing, but Super Bowl 52. I mean, I always go back to that moment where we're standing in Minnesota and the Eagles. I'm not a fan of the Eagles, but seeing all these Philly fans sing "Fly Eagles Fly" and some of these never thinking they might ever win a Super Bowl. Some of them have just been waiting their whole lives. I was waiting my whole life, 30 years before the Chiefs won a Super Bowl, most of my life. But to see them and feel that chicken skin from old and young singing "Fly Eagles Fly" together, that's that experience I'm talking about. Like, what kind of price tag can you put on that? Because you can go back to that always. Everybody spends money on their things. It's not about what you spend money on. It's what you put value on. So that's different. What do you value? Some people value their time. Some people value their sleep more. I value my sleep, right? I would hate to have a job that makes me wake up early. Like, literally, that would be the basis of my job if I had a job, because I work for myself. And that's another of the struggle. But I choose that life because even though I don't make as much as I could if I probably work for somebody else, somebody would probably pay me a lot of money. I can control those things like my sleep and when I work, and that's more important to me. So that's what I value. So could my bank account be larger? Yes, most definitely. Had I finished my PhD, I'd probably be bored teaching economics, but at least I would, have a steady paycheck, I guess. And that's really important to people. That's what they value, right? They value the steadiness of a paycheck and the steadiness of health insurance that they get every month, which is kind of a America thing, right? Like, we need these things. But more than all, we need balance and we need fun and we need those things. Some European values, maybe, or Canadians or other countries that see that, human beings also need rest and have fun. And it's been amazing on my tours to see how people come really charged. People who are overworked come on these tours and they're like, this is what I needed. And it's fun. It's fun to see that because it changes you. Traveling will always change you. It'll always make you a different person. You always come out of it as a different person. You'll experience something and you're different. And it'll change your outlook on the world, and you share that with your friends, and it becomes contagious. And they're like, I don't get it. I remember, like, my friend going to, in college, St. Lucia in the Caribbean. And it's crazy, right? College kids can sometimes go on these trips for, like, school, and you go to these cool places like the Caribbean during spring break. But anyways, that's neither here nor there, but it was for, I think, their Caribbean studies class or something. And I remember her just being so different, like her countenance changing when she came back from those 2 week spring break. Well, she was darker and tan, but like seeing people who've never really been beach people like us in Hawaii, we're so used to going to the beach like every day. Every day we go to the beach, right? In Hawaii, there's never a day where you can't go to the beach, really. But there are people that never go to the beach, especially Hawaiian beaches, like especially ours. So their minds are totally blown, and it's cool to see people get out of that, because it'll affect your work and it'll affect the way you look at your relationships. So that's really important as well. I think a lot of people underplay or undervalue how your memories and your experience will energize you, will make your job, your work, maybe a little bit more palatable to you, to swallow that pill every day if you are in a job that maybe you feel stuck in. And I'm not saying that it's normal that people always feel stuck in jobs, but it can happen sometimes. So I don't want that, though. I want you all to remember just how, time is fleeting. And we've had people that we've lost. I've had memoriams to you know, people on this show, and you never know. I thought my friend Mauricio, whom I had a show dedicated to in loving memory of Mauricio, my friend Mo, I thought he would, you know, live forever, and we would be going to games and trips forever, and we would always do this. And we got a solid, you know, 3 years in together of going on trips, and the most memorable game of my life, LAFC's first ever game. What a sports experience for me. I'll never forget that game. Never. Is it the most experience? Would I ever think a soccer game or a regular season soccer game going to be the most vital game that ever is played? No, absolutely not. But to me personally, yes. And especially now that I had a friend that I had an amazing memory that I shared with, jumping on his back during goals and during the win, and knowing that I'll never do that again. He'll never be there again. Only in spirit. He's always going to be there in spirit. Always, always, always. But he'll never in his physical form. I'll never get to jump on his back and celebrate. Because moments are fleeting. They only happen a few times. And that's something I think a lot of people, like I said, undervalue or they realize more as they get older. You read these things about people on their deathbed, what they're saying they regret. And a lot of it is like not doing what they want to do. It's like, so do what you want to do. And the stuff I'm doing that I'm sharing with the world and Hawaii sports fans, I'm sure you're going to want to do too. But come to hisportsfans.com. Ask about my social media deal, because I'm going to start blasting it out. hisportsfans.com. Contact us. You're going to get a call back. You're going to be able to have the safety and the stress-free and all the things that you want in a transaction of that deals with money. You know, that's always to people, right? Like the stressful part. Like, I want to make it very stress-free. Bring everything is totally and utterly plain to see what we're going to do, what you're going to have, what you're going to get. But ultimately, that experience overall, you'll never be able to forget it. Well, for another Wayne Coito show, we'll talk to you all next time. Aloha.